Welcome back to Local Focus. Football season we're in the midst of it, that's for sure. You can catch us, of course, on the Friday Game of the Week on My 50 TV, and of course throughout the week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday action on Game Vision when we're in an APS facility, and of course on the NFHS network when we're at a non-APS facility. Easiest way to do all that, just go to the ProView Network's website and check out the schedule there. Click from there, then see real easy to follow. My guest this week is Rio Rancho High's quarterback, JJ Arellano. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Man, what a great start to the season for you guys, right? And how important is that kind of week one to come out and put your best foot forward and get off to a good start?
Yeah, it's very important. I definitely think that we set the memo of how our team's going to be this year. Obviously, it wasn't a perfect game, but I definitely think that we definitely let everyone know and kind of put ourselves out there of how dangerous that our team can be.
And I think the question with Rio Rancho is always, I would say it's more on the offensive side of the ball, right? I think you kind of know what you get with that defense, at least in years past.
Right.
So to come out and move the ball the way you did, I know it's a team game, right? And the goal is always to win. But we'll get back to the team aspect a little bit, but focus on the individual, or at least your side of the ball, offense. Mm-hmm. How important was that for the offense?
It was very important. I think that we have one of the best offenses we've had in years this year. And I like the way that we were able to spread the ball around to different guys. It's not just one or two guys that's making plays happen every time. It's everyone around the field. It's the offensive line who are making it happen, of course, and then we have our receivers and our athletes in the backfield at our running back position. So I like how we were all able to put it all together and kind of just make something happen out of it, spread the ball around.
Is that something that you saw coming through camp, through practice? I mean, were you guys giving it to the first team defense a little bit?
Yeah.
Did you see it coming?
Of course, yeah. Ever since we started kind of putting the pieces together back in spring ball is when we started realizing, okay, we have guys that are out here making plays. During 7-on-7 season throughout the summer and stuff, we were spreading the ball around even more than what we saw week one. Like, everyone was making plays out there, from the tight end position to the outside receivers to even some of our secondary, second repetition guys, like our twos. So, yeah, it was definitely something that we saw coming and something we kind of were able to put together week one.
Now, your individual stat line, I don't have it in front of me, but do you recall what it was?
I don't have exact numbers, but I know I had over 500 yards rushing my sophomore year. That was like my big running year. And I think around 1,000 yards passing as well. Last year, I know I broke 1,200 yards passing, and I think only half of what I had my sophomore year. I think around 300 rushing yards.
So already a really good chunk of that in week one, right? Because you accounted for, was it 5 touchdowns? 6?
5 touchdowns.
It was a lot.
5
right?
total touchdowns.
Okay.
I had 4 passing, 1 rushing.
So 4 through the air, 1 rushing. So a really large chunk of that already in week one. And you were really able to mix the ball around, right? So talk about that a little bit. I mean, how important is that as a quarterback? You got to keep those receivers happy, right? And so when you can mix it around, talk about that.
Right. When we're able to mix it around, you know, it obviously makes all the receivers happy that they're all getting the ball and they're all getting action and they're all getting reps. I think as a quarterback, it's really reliable to have. So we're not relying on one guy, because it's easy to take out one guy from the game and not have anybody else. But I feel like with having different athletes and relying on everyone else that's around the field, knowing that they can go out there and make plays, it's really it's a good feeling as a quarterback to be able to rely on not just one or not two, but everyone that's on the field.
Yeah, and you definitely had a favorite target that game, obviously, right? And Jace. And, you know, I got to say, I was a little impressed with the receiving corps, because that's one of the things. I was talking a little bit to Coach Williams before the game, And I asked him straight up. I said, "Hey, do you have any receivers this year that can make some plays?" Right? Because I thought maybe in years past there wasn't that dynamic playmaker, right? There, and he said, "No, no, we're set. We're good.
Oh yeah.
Jason's going to be out there. He's
Yeah.
going to be making plays." And that's what happened. It seemed like the receivers made all the plays when they needed to.
Right. Oh yeah. Jace is definitely a great playmaker. He goes out there and he gets the ball, whether it's a good pass or not. He goes out there and he makes plays. Receiving wise, we have guys all over the field. Parker Miller, another speedster guy, he set a record at our school in track. So he's a very fast weapon out there. You know, he's got good hands. We have great inside guys. Bodie Victor, he's good with his hands. He's able to find space and get open. And David, when he gets into space, he's able to catch the ball and he's really good with getting yards after the carry. He's able to push downfield and keep getting yards with even if he'll turn a 2-yard pass into a 4-yard gain. You know, so it's pretty nice having those guys out there.
Now I know some people are going to say, okay, it's 1 week, it's Trisco, let's pump the brakes. But how do you guys ensure that you continue to get better and build on that?
We keep just doing what we've been doing. You know, we spread the ball around. We keep our tempo up. We keep our energy up. One of the things we talked about, I think it was yesterday, was we looked ahead into our long-term goal. We have a long-term goal. We're trying to get better every week to reach that long-term goal. And when people come in front of us, it's just another week adding on top of each other, just getting better, just having the chance to get better every week. That's we just got to keep our energy up and make sure that we're improving and not just kind of staying still and kind of just cruising with it.
And what does that look like during the week when you're trying to improve every week? Are you guys kind of is that something specific that you guys find on film, or is it just general stuff?
Right. I mean, improving everywhere on the ball, whether it's getting set faster, like the little things, getting to the ball faster. Obviously, taking away some of our penalties that we're having, making less mistakes, getting the balls out to different guys. It's just an all-around thing, and a lot of the time it's just the little things that we can just improve, and we try to perfect those little things so we can put it all together, because we have talent and we have a lot of guys on our offense, but just fixing those little things is going to make us better and more efficient, I'd say.
Now, obviously, no one talking about Rio Rancho before the season started. Does that piss you off, or does that motivate you, or do you guys prefer that just to go about your business, let everyone talk about the big bad Bears while you guys do your work? I mean, what's the player's mindset when it comes to stuff like that?
I definitely think it gives us a chip on our shoulder. It gives us kind of like that little swag that we kind of need. Like, okay, they're kind of counting us out. Let's go show it to them. Let's go prove it to them. A lot of the team. Most of us weren't happy that we weren't really getting talked about, but at the same time, it didn't really affect us too much. We're like, okay, it is what it is. We have a chip on our shoulder. We have something to prove now. So,
and obviously, the district realignment affects everybody this year, but you have the big competitive chunk of that district is still in place, right? Mm-hmm. With you guys, Volcano, Cleveland. How is that district? Not only this year, but I mean, in years past, that district just such a just a gauntlet, right?
Right.
Like, talk about that.
Right. It's definitely a battle. Having Volcano and Cleveland, those are two great programs who've done great things throughout the years. But we love the competition. We wait for those games all year long. We talk about those games even in the off season. We're waiting for those games. We love the rivalry. We love the competition, and we love like the atmosphere of the games, knowing that we're going out and playing someone who is a rival and also going to give us great competition and give us a good look. And those games are definitely the funnest games to play.
So, I mean, you guys circle. Do players really circle games on the calendar? Or, I mean, I hear players talk about that. Does that really happen? Like,
I don't know if specifically we circle them, but we definitely think about them. We definitely talk about them. We definitely can't wait to get to that point and get to that game. Obviously, one game at a time. We're focused every week on who we're playing that week, but we're definitely in the back of our mind. We can't wait to get to those games deep in the district. So.
All right. So we know the big rocks, obviously, in that district, right? Always the three of you guys. So. Both of those teams provide different challenges, right? Volcano and Cleveland. Mm-hmm. Volcano, they kind of do the same thing every year, right? They feature that running back,
right.
Whoever it is, right? They seem to rotate one in every year. They're quick to the ball defensively. What does that team do as far as schematics to challenge you guys?
Their strength on offense is definitely running the ball, so that our defense has to be able to be able to stuff that run and be able to get downhill quick. Defensively, they blitz, and there are some hard hitters, there's some thumpers on that team. So we always got to prepare to get hit, obviously, and we got to prepare for a quick blitz and twists and all kinds of stuff that they do defensively on the D line and on the linebacker position to get ready to, whether we're going to squeeze through running the ball or if we're going to throw it over their head and passing the ball. So,
let me ask you this about that team: how hard is it? To me and guys that I've talked to, that's a team that talks an above average amount of ish, right? Right?
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I'd say
Okay.
majority of our district games are pretty chippy, are pretty trash talky. But
So how do you, against that team that talks so much ish, how do you stay locked in, stay focused, not get into that, and because penalty yardages can pile up, especially in games against that team, right? So how do you stay locked in?
Me personally, I've never been much of a talker. I've been more of like, I kind of just talk with what I do on the field. You know what I'm saying? So me personally, I've never really been too much affected by trash talk. I hear it, but at the same time, I don't hear it. Like I kind of just let it kind of fly past my ears. Like I know it's there, but I also know like I got to stay locked in. I got to stay to myself, and we can't afford anything small like that because those little things is what costs us games at times. The team-wise, we talk about it all week.
So you do. That definitely gets mentioned that week. Yeah. Like, hey, there's going to be trash talking.
Oh, yeah.
So what does that sound like during the week? What does Coach Pino kind of tell you guys during the week?
He says, don't be stupid. He just straight up tells us, don't be stupid. We can't afford those little things. And, celebrate with our guys. We don't need to tell them anything until that scoreboard is at 0-0, you know what I'm saying? So we have to kind of just stay to ourselves, celebrate with our guys, and not really like listen too much of what they're saying to us. So we talk about it all week though, and it's something that's kind of engraved into everyone's minds. So
I love a coach that keeps it simple. Don't be stupid. Don't do anything stupid. Right? It doesn't get any more simple than that. We'll be back with JJ after this. We'll talk about that rivalry with Cleveland and move on to some other topics when we return.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot. It's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Back with the Rams quarterback, JJ Arellano. We were talking a little bit about the rivalries within that district. Talked about Volcano, but obviously the big one is in the city, right? The Cleveland Rio Rancho rivalry. Talk about how special that is.
It's special, I think it's great to have an in-city kind of rivalry. It's always there. It's there no matter what game it is, no matter what sport it is. I think it's a great rivalry that we have with them. Obviously, it hasn't really been going our way these past couple seasons, but it's definitely fun, and it definitely brings a lot of energy and a lot of hype to that game, that specific game.
And the community is all in on that too. I mean, it's not rare for Mayor Hall to be at that game. It's not rare for city council people to be at that game. So, it's a big deal in the community outside of the 2 halls at the 2 schools, right?
Right. Oh, yeah, for sure. I think, it's mainly kind of north side and south side, kind of Rio Rancho. Definitely you'll see a little bit more Rio Rancho Rams and the like south side of Rio Rancho, a little bit more north, more Cleveland. But yeah, it's definitely a big thing in the community. Teachers talk about it all the way from elementary school teachers all the way up to them. You know, even I remember when I was little, like they used to talk about it, and I had no idea what it was until I got up there. You know, and it's definitely special.
Did you ever go to any of those games when you were younger?
I did. I did go to a couple. I think I went to one Cleveland and Rio Rancho game back in middle school. But at the time, I used to play for Cleveland Yaffle. I used to play for Cleveland's Yaffle team. So it was kind of funny how
you burned all those, though, right?
Yeah.
Burned all those. Okay, all right. Just make sure you don't have any of those shirts or anything in your closet. Like, that would be a controversy. Okay, all right. Any memories that stick out of that rivalry before you even got there?
I remember one game was really cold.
Yeah. There can be some cold games.
It was cold game. It was later in the season. It was one really cold game. But I think Isaiah Chavez was the quarterback at the time. And you'd hear him. He was running the ball all crazy all over him. And I can't remember. I think Rio Rancho ended up losing, but it was like barely. I think they barely stuffed us at the goal line. And that's the game I remember. And I was like, oh, you know. Yeah.
So now you get a chance to write a chapter in that rivalry yourself. Right. Have you thought about that?
Yeah, of course. I've thought about it since I first came to Rio Rancho. Like, I was like, yep, I know exactly what this community and the rivalry that's down there, and that's everyone talks about, everyone's hyped for, everyone waits all season for. You know, so I definitely wanted to be a part of a change in tradition, for sure.
What has to happen for that? I mean, obviously a lot of the pieces have changed, right? They've graduated some players. Coach Ridenauer's back there. I think that'll be a big deal, right? But what do you guys have to do to kind of flip the script a little bit and come out on top this time?
We definitely have all the talent we need. We definitely have all the grit that we need. I think it's all mentality. I think we all need to come out with a certain mentality that we're going to beat them. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts that we're going to beat them. So I think if we come out with a mentality like that, and we just come out playing hard and doing everything that we need to do, our job-wise, and, you know, playing within ourselves, playing for ourselves, then we'll have a good chance against them. So.
Right. I mean, this season kind of, you know, you're the starter. It's your team now. So this season is a coming out party for you. So there's probably not a lot. Well, there's probably a few things we don't know about you. So we do a top 5 list here on the program. Top 5 things that we don't know about JJ Arellano. We'll count it down. Number 5.
I like to go fishing and I like to camp.
Okay, so you're an outdoorsman.
I am an outdoorsman. Okay, I love to be outdoors.
Fishing and camp. All right. Yep. Like, are you talking like full, like you got the camel gear and all that stuff?
I don't know about all that. I just like to go out, you know, when I'm not at the field or I'm not lifting or anything. I just like to get out, kind of escape a little bit, do some mental awareness, mental check, and just kind of get out there and just, you know, enjoy the outdoors.
All right. What's the most hours you've ever spent at Cabela's just shopping for outdoor?
Probably like 2 hours, honestly.
Okay. Right? Like, you can make a day at Cabela's.
I'll walk around, like I'll do laps, you know. I'll find stuff. I'll play with it a little bit,
right?
And then I'll be like, oh, I guess it's dinner time, and I gotta go home.
Cabela's is kind of like a paradise in that sense, isn't it? Like, all right. Yeah. Number 4, things we don't know about you.
Number 4. Let's see. My name is actually not JJ.
All right. What is it?
My name is Jose Arellano Jr.
Okay.
That's where the JJ comes from.
And when did it just kind of stick to JJ?
Honestly, since birth.
Okay.
Everyone's been calling me JJ my whole life, you know, and that's how everyone knows me.
Okay.
The only time you'll ever hear Jose is if like someone's calling me on attendance or something, like first day of school. Or my mom when she's mad.
Right. Yeah. If she goes full government, you know you're in trouble.
Oh yeah. When she goes Jose, it's not good.
It's not a good thing.
No.
Okay. Yeah. That's never a good thing, right?
Nope.
All right. Number 3.
Number 3 would be, let's see, I like cars. I love cars. I'm really into American muscle cars.
Okay.
Yeah. I drive a Mustang myself, so I'm really into those American muscle cars.
I mean, students drive. You know, I do these games now, and I pull into the student parking lots.
Yeah.
And it is different. Like my first car in high school was a Tercel, okay? Like, and that's not just because I went to Del Norte. Like, everyone drove a crap car. But now, like, yeah, like, I mean, the cars, especially at Rio Rancho in Cleveland, impressive. What color is that? Is that Rio Rancho color, or what
It's
is
a
it?
silver. It's silver.
Okay,
Yeah. It's a silver 2000 V6 Mustang.
Okay.
So not very powerful, but I love the way it looks. I love the way it sounds. I
Do all
bet.
your own work on that?
Huh?
Did you do all your own work on that?
For the most part,
Okay.
kind of. It's nothing too crazy yet. Obviously, I have goals and dreams for it, but it's in the works, I'd say.
All right. Number 2.
Number 2 would be quarterback wasn't my only position back in the day. I used to play linebacker as well. I used to play linebacker for my Yaffle team. I kind of did both ways, but I used to love playing linebacker. I was a big kid. And I loved going out and just putting my shoulder into somebody and going to hit somebody.
But that kind of speaks to you, the guy, a little bit. It's kind of interesting. Quarterback, leader of the offense. Linebacker, usually leader of the defense, right? Does that kind of speak to you, the person, and the kind of leader you are on the field?
Oh yeah, of course. I've always seen myself as a good leader, by example mainly. I've always just been out there, and they're like, whoa, like, I've always just made kind of something happen that kind of just like influenced me to be a leader.
Right.
I love being like, I love having control. I love having, I love talking to people and, just kind of building people up. So I've always kind of just been like a kind of a natural leader.
All right, the number one thing that we don't know about you.
The number one thing I would say, was the thing I mentioned earlier is that I used to play for Cleveland, and that was a switch. So
Cat out of the bag, right?
That was a big one.
How did that happen?
Well, it was just Yaffle, and
Right.
I didn't play Yaffle originally. I started playing football when I was 6 years old. So we used to play for a different league. I forgot the league's name now, but when I first got into Yaffle, I was in 3rd grade, and we were kind of just looking locally, and I think the head coach for Cleveland kind of reached out to us and said he wanted me to come to practice, so I ended up just sticking with them. And then for those days, I always thought I would go to Cleveland High School, but I wasn't in their district, and yada yada yada. I ended up coming to Rio Rancho my freshman year. Even everyone that I had grown up with and talked to my whole life, they all assumed I was going to go to Cleveland. So when I kind of popped into Rio Rancho, they were like, "Whoa, what the heck?"
And kudos to you, because you should go to school in the district you live in. I
Of
always
course,
say that,
yeah.
and I'm not just saying that because I'm a Del Norte guy. And guess what? All the best players on all the best teams in the city, they all live in Del Norte's district. So if they all went to Del Norte, the Knights would be a powerhouse. But anyway, but no, good for you, right?
Yeah.
So, but that was probably a little like your teammates were kind of shocked, right?
Yeah, they were definitely shocked. I mean, majority of my teammates were like friends that I've grown up with.
Right.
Kind of just getting into football, like that, their first year, freshman year, first year for some of them. But yeah, I definitely like that I ended up going to Rio Rancho because it's definitely my community. It's definitely who I am. It's definitely the place that I would want to be after going to high school and playing football for. I feel like that's just kind of my territory, my place, especially knowing that I've grown up in that same district literally since day one.
Right.
So I've always been a part of that community, and I love that I get to go out and represent that community and be a part of it. So.
All right, let's talk. You said my place. Let's talk about your place a little more. In specifics, prior to this year, starter 1 week, not the starter another week. How difficult is that to stay focused? How difficult is that to stay ready? How discouraging is it to know, okay, I'm not starting? Take us through that whole thing, because that's obviously something that you've dealt with.
Right. Yeah. It was definitely one of my hardest challenges that I've had to face. I had torn my ACL the previous year, my sophomore year, and then I had to kind of grind my way back up, relearning how to walk, relearning how to run, and kind of just doing like everything that I've always done. So yeah, it was definitely hard. I got cleared right before the season started, and I took a few snaps here and there in the games. So I was my mind was a little confused here and there. I was just like, am I playing? Am I not playing? Like, what's kind of the theme here? But yeah, it was definitely a challenge. I stayed kind of focused by having a positive mentality of it. Like, okay, maybe I just need to take these baby steps back into it, because for some reason I shouldn't go out there right away. Maybe I'll get hurt again. Maybe I wasn't ready. I kind of kept a positive mindset until it was my time again. until it was my time to get out there and go out there and play. And so it was my opportunity again.
But that was not a foregone conclusion, right? There was
Right.
no light at the end of the tunnel that said, "Hey, this is going to be your gig," right? I mean, there was a legit competition there.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was kind of. I just want to mention I've been Team JJ all the way. So I just is there something in your mind though that says, like, Coach, like, we win when I'm in there, I should be in there, or do you just go about your business?
Kind of just went about my business, you know. I didn't really want to focus too much on, like, you know, what we did when I was in there. I was more focused on what I need to do when I get in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I kind of just need to go in there and just do what I've always done. You know, go out there and be a playmaker, be a player, and also just be supportive of the team as well. Like, you know.
And it's different at that position too, right? Because it's not like receiver where you're like, all right, as long as I'm one of the four guys, I'm going to get some balls thrown at me, right?
Right.
But at quarterback, it's a little different, right? Either you're out there or you're not. And
Right.
so, I mean, what were the low times and then what were the high times of that season where you were kind of in limbo a little bit?
Well, definitely the low times was like towards the beginning of the year. You know, I obviously kind of already assumed that I wouldn't play like beginning of the year. First like 3 to 4 games, I kind of was new because I had just gotten cleared, and I was getting reps in practice, but team also needed to focus on, okay, we got a game coming up. You know, we can't just focus on getting him his baby reps right now, and we need to focus on, you know, La Cueva, who was coming up week 1 that year. So, you know, it was kind of just a lot of doing my own stuff. Like, I had to do my stuff outside of practice, I had to do my stuff before practice, you know, kind of just having a hard mentality about it and just grinding. So that was a really low. That was like one of the low points. One of the high points is obviously when I started getting back some playing time. You know, I get in for a couple series, show what I can do for a bit, and I got to get taken out again. But, you know, at least I got out there, got on the field, got the feel for it again, because it is a hard injury to return from. You know, especially especially as good as a runner I was my sophomore year, because that was like my whole game, is that I knew how to run the ball. So it was hard to kind of bounce back from that, but the high times were definitely just being able to even get on the field. You know, it was a blessing just getting on the field and showing what I can do until it was my opportunity to come back. And then obviously that takes the high note there when I finally got on the field and earned my position back, you know.
Right.
So
Talking to you a little bit today, you seem to have a very level-headed head on your shoulder. Mm-hmm. You talked a little bit about when you're outdoors fishing and whatnot, you kind of take that time to reset. But what else do you do to kind of, what I'm saying is you seem like a sharp dude. Mm-hmm. So what do you do to stay level? Like,
you know, I'm a spiritual guy. You know, I pray, I talk to God, I read my Bible. That's a big time, you know, downtime for me. You know, just having that downtime, you know, being able to just to get in my room, you know, quiet, no distractions, no phone time. You know, just get in my Bible and read. That's always something that's always been that's always been really helpful for me, you know, kind of leveling myself out. You know, things get stressful with football. It's a stressful sport, you know, up early mornings and then to school, back to practice, you know, and then having to do like what I have to do outside of practice, you know. So that's always been a great downtime for me. Like I mentioned, I do like to go outdoors and kind of get out there, get some air in me, fish, you know, doing just like kind of calming things, you know. And I would say, like, here and there, I get to, you know, have a little bit of fun, you know, play some video games and stuff, you know, kind of take my mind away from everything from a little bit, you know, kind of like decelerate and then lock back in for the upcoming week.
All right. Well, the Rams definitely locked in for this season. We're already out of time. Thank you so much for coming in, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
And thank you for watching, everyone, and good night.